What's up, boys and girls? Today I'm quite happy. If you didn't notice it in my voice, then I shall describe this feeling with my words. As a potter that shapes forms in clay to make masteries of beauty and art, the studio at Creative Assembly, more accurately the Sophia branch, molded a new game set in the Bronze Age, and it's called Total War Saga Troy. Just one thing to keep in mind is that the Saga series are more on the side of dude, we are doing an experiment with this thing and hope nothing blows up. So expect a game that has a lower budget. Anywho, without robbing you of no more time, let's get to the meat of the subject and see if it's worth the huge time investment that it requires on our part. So, how does the skewering, stabbing, smashing, throwing and every other act of visceral action on the battlefield feels like? The short answer? Awesome! The long answer? Well, it's complicated. While the action itself is real fun and commanding huge armies to settle the death of blood and land is addicting, when it comes to the detail of it, like tactics, well, the AI is stupid, no other words for it. We still have the effect of an entire unit just looking without doing anything, where only a few models actually attack, and it feels as awful as it did in previous titles. Though I have some good news, the CGI is a little better, not by much, you can still exploit it with your hero and lose little units, but it's good. And a few times I actually lost sieges where I had the advantage of numbers. Outside the field of combat, they added some new mechanics like resources. I actually feel conflicted about them. While they add a new dimension to the strategic planning of pillage and stealing cities from others by the use of deadly force, they started becoming more of a hindrance than anything else, rather than forcing me to adapt to a new situation. And in the late game, I didn't care much about them. The only unique thing they added is how constrained I was in building armies, which is never fun, but a necessary evil to please the gods of balancing and challenge. And talking about the gods? Well, gods are a new buff mechanic added to the game, where you can sacrifice to win a favor from a god and pray to it to get a buff. It's a nice addition to the game, but I didn't bother much with it. While the buffs are nice, they are not a necessity and you can finish the game without touching this mechanic. The hero mechanics with equipment and skill trees see a return in this game as well. I feel like heroes are way too unbalanced. I played as Achilles and he was unstoppable. I could go 1 versus 5, 6 units and still win, while I feel like they need some balancing. I actually like that feeling of power that comes with the territory. The AI on the political map is improved. I don't know if this was because I played as Achilles or what, but on normal, the AI was extremely aggressive, making alliances and attacking me from different sides. I was constantly fighting on 3 fronts with one army and losing territory left and right, and when I finally vanquished an opponent, another would declare war and attack me the next turn. Well, this was beyond frustrating to run around in a cage like a monkey in a zoo. It had its share of challenges and fun to it. There was one thing that made my spurs go jingle jangle in the worst way possible, and that is the constant harassment of settlements. I would go to defend against an army, and while I did that, another army, smaller in number, would attack a city and conquer it. I would return, make them scream, "Oh no, stop stabbing me, please," and find out that they destroyed everything in that city. I needed to go back again from square one and upgrade the city from tier 1 to tier 3 and rebuild all the production facilities. Oh my god, this is simply annoying. It made the fun of conquering territories turn in angry shouts of "Stop!" Especially cause it would repeat itself again and again and again and again. And this leads me to my next point. The NPCs never build production, they only go for military buildings. There were factions that had 1 city and 2 free armies, while I had over 40 territories and couldn't support 3 armies. That is bullshit of the highest caliber. Another fun mechanic that they added is that you can go in the enemy territories without declaring war. You can even raid and pillage without ever becoming hostile. You know how I know? It constantly happened to me, and if I attacked them while they were doing this, everybody would hate me and declare war on me. Fun! What is this? Total War Saga. 10 master class tips to annoy the player. Who thought this was a good idea? Who? God, this was the most irritating thing ever happening to me. Over 4 armies in their territories, and the only thing I could do was praying on the gods at Creative Assembly, please make them leave. The ways of conquering without conflict, also known as diplomacy or take my money and don't complain, has seen some improvements. Now your allies will stay your allies unless you do something stupid like attacking them, and that is a nice change. This change, coupled with the new resource management, kinda forces you to make alliances and friends so you can trade to be able to maintain that dream army you always wanted. A thing that kinda bothered me a lot is that the map has a lot of water, and forcing my ship to swim through the unknown and uncovering new lands. I attacked an army on the water, and the battle happened on land. Yeah, there is nothing more to say here. Attacked on water, fight happened on land. The end. The map is kinda open space. Combine that with the fact that you'll be at war with multiple factions, and there is no need to declare war before invading territories. Expect to have moments of annoyance on your hand. It is extremely hard to protect what you conquered. You simply won't have the resources to house the many armies you'll need to protect against sea attacks, land attacks, north, south, east, west attacks, so expect to lose territory and the need to march backwards to defend what you conquered. It didn't help that my allies ignored the enemy armies and let them pass by them so they can reach my territories and annoy me. I had this instance of an ally with 2 armies let one guy pass by them while at war with them so they can attack me in peace, and this leads me to my next point: spam against the player. You will be spammed no matter what you do. What? My CI is your ally? Has over 60 territories and 15 armies? They constantly attack and conquer Troy? Well, let's ignore all that and spam the player with armies and agents again and again. This obsession the AI has with the player is a deal breaker to me. First, protect your own cities and defend against the biggest threat. Not harass me while you lose every goddamn city you own. It kinda killed my immersion with the game. Have you ever looked at something and said to yourself, that is a nice twist thrown into the mix of creativity and impaled on the responsibility of personal view, shaped by a good attitude and has a great personality despite being an object? Well, neither did I, but if I would ever feel like that, it would be with Troy. This game reeks of personality, from the voice lines that are quite accurately taken from Iliad, the book, or the zooming in on the political map just to be met with a background on the horizon that depicts a mural or the engraving on a pot, to the mystical creatures that we will no doubt face in battle. The game simply has a cool look attached to it that gives it a distinct feel and is guilty of the passion attributed by the developers that clearly loved their project. I have only words of praise for the looks of the game, from graphics to the unique design of the panels that we meet in the menus, to the nice models of units or the detailed trees, because of course I will look at trees while fighting. That is a nice tree. On the sound department, I have nothing to criticize. The sound is good, it's pleasant, it feels like yells, shouts and fighting. And of course, Achilles sounds like the most arrogant person that ever lived. Great job.
You will not be missed! Save your breath for combat!
Hades has claimed the enemy hero.
My legend only grows!
While sometimes the game is guilty of being annoying to almost to the point of rage, and the wait time for the end of turn can reach 5 minutes of boring agent spam movement, it still captured that addictive notion of one more settlement and before you know it, it's already 3 AM in the morning and you need to wake up at 5 to go to work. It maybe doesn't have the same polish and cool setting as Total War Warhammer, but it still has it "you should play this game, it's good" moments. After some debates and arguments between us at Playful Cerberus, we'll give it a solid 7.5.